control, an all-powerful government would not be all-powerful. So for that reason, they would also have to control the instincts. And as seen in Brave New World, they would use techniques such as dead conditioning, neo-Pavlovian conditioning to strip people of their instincts. With neo-Pavlovian conditioning, uh, the children will be forced to, adapt to these kind of circumstances. The children will be, uh, as seen in this experiment, this picture, children are attracted to these colorful flowers and colorful books, but when they come to play with it, the government would use electric shocks and loud sirens to make children scared of this thing, and then children later would develop instinctive hatred towards those things. And by that, the government would have control instincts itself. And by that conditioning, they could make people forget their primal fears. Our oldest and greatest fear is the fear of death. And to even be able to remove that fear, show us of the terrifying danger of an all-powerful state. Yet even without instincts, morals, and values, people still have emotions. And emotions, if intense enough, can make people act different, can make them rise up, and that is not so desirable for an all-powerful state. And for that reason, they have to control the emotions of the citizens. And as seen in Brave New World, they would use soma, promiscuity, and propaganda such as no family, no love, to suppress all these intense emotions of the people. People are no longer passionate in Brave New World. With soma, all these emotions are suppressed by superficial happiness. With promiscuity, they would no longer have love, and with love, they would no longer have family. And with no family, they would no longer experience these intense emotions. And for them, they would have lost their emotions. And by that, they will be easy to control. So now the people have lost almost everything. The only thing that can make them different, that can make them act a bit different, would be their individuality. And for that reason, the government has to control that as well. And as in the working world, they would use propaganda such as everyone belongs to everyone else, community identity stability, to ensure that your identity has to be that which contributes to the community and which can ensure the stability of the society. So now the people, you in Brave New World would no longer be yourself, but everyone else, you are no longer acting on your, I guess, you're no longer doing your purpose. So by then, under the rule of an all-powerful state, the people has lost their values, their morals, instincts, emotions, and individuality. They become nothing more than puppets under the rule of these giant world leaders. They are the people have now lost what makes them people. Under an all-powerful state, they have lost their humanity. And that's the end of my presentation.
That's really
Thank you for
cool.
listening.
Some really cool images there. If you go back a couple of slides, maybe one or two slides, just the one before the ending. That one, yep. So if you can make that large. And I like the image use. I like the way the presentation was put together. It's very clear, your ideas here. And yeah, I like how some of the animations too. But this slide too, as I read through this slide, so here's a question. Now it might be a difficult question, so take a minute to think about it. But Brave New World obviously was Aldous Huxley's response to his immediate understanding of his world. Yeah. And
Yes.
in some ways, the book was obviously it's still read today and still popular, at least with high school students today, because of its messages from before. But are these messages just simply from the past? And can you connect some ideas from the book, maybe two? Can you connect two ideas from the book, maybe parts of your presentation, connect two ideas from your presentation to examples from modern day society? Take a minute to think about that. How does the book and or your presentation connect to two examples from modern day society? You know, maybe it's Soma or something like Soma or anything like that.
For Soma, there would be weed and other kinds of, these kind of drugs that people are using. And weed is also being, legal in some of the states. So it could be, it is quite similar to Soma of all weed is. And I guess that would be one of the example in our modern day.
What's the proper name for weed? Just so you're using the proper name.
Proper name?
Yeah.
As in like scientific name?
Not really.
Proper name.
Weed.
Cannabis? Cannabis?
Cannabis is the scientific name. Cannabis is the scientific name, but weed is slang. It's a little slang. Do you know what the proper name is? Marijuana.
Yeah, marijuana. Yeah.
That's fine.
Marijuana.
Yeah. And you're right.
And
So
also,
go ahead.
the other things would be like the consumerism aspect. I don't think I've included it in this presentation, but the quote of ending is better than mending. So we've seen how the consumerism aspect of Brave New World and how in our modern society, people are encouraged to buy new things uh, rather than just using your old ones, I suppose. And that could be another aspect of it.
Yeah, I think the idea of being satisfied with what you have is something that's slowly becoming more and more of a challenge. Have any of you seen the Wonder Woman 1984? The new
I have not.
You have not? Have you seen it, Ariel?
I have, yeah.
What about you, Lena? Have you seen it? 1984, Wonder Woman 1984?
No.
Okay. Well, it's not homework, but when you do see it, you'll realize that starting in the 1980s, there was an obsession with capitalism that really skyrocketed. So everybody was shopping and buying. Now, I grew up around when you were, I think most of you are what, 16, 17 years old? Around that age?
Yes, 16, 17, yes.
So I was 16 years old in 1988. So I grew up in a time when it was lots of shopping. I used to work at a mall. Sorry, I'm telling you too much information about myself, but I used to work at a mall and it was always busy. It was so hard to find parking. People were constantly shopping. Now, that's when it really started, when capitalism really started. We're at a point now, for example, where, think about this, what is the average time frame people have or own their cell phone? How many years do you think somebody owns their cell phone nowadays? 10 years?
No longer 10 years, I suppose, like a year or two.
Yeah, so a year or two. Now, if there's 30 of us, and in 2 years, we all get rid of our phones and buy new ones, what happens to the 30 phones that we get rid of, right? There is consumerism times 12,000 right now, and everybody's looking for the new Samsung or everybody's looking for the new iPhone, etc. I have not become part, I think Apple is a cult, so I still have not bought any Apple products. I have no Apple products. But anyway, so those are two good examples, right? Consumerism, and the other one you mentioned is marijuana. Now, marijuana has been legalized in many countries, right? So now it's moving from a drug like Soma to Soma as like it's a legal drug. So people will buy it, and it's moving, marijuana is now moving into capitalism, right? Consumerism. I don't know in your country, but in Canada, it is legal. And here in Canada, the amount of stores and online programs selling marijuana is probably maybe either the first or second highest grossing income in the last profitable income in the last year or 2 years. It was only legalized about a year ago, and it can only go forward. Now, with COVID, it's hard to go shopping, but people still buy online. But those are two good points. Very good. Good presentation. Good job. You submitted it to the folder, so I'll change the mark later. If I don't change it, just send me a quick email just to remind me, but I do have it. I have it listed here. Okay.